Si Senator Rodante Marcoleta at saka si Senator Ping Lacson nag-umpisa na po ipakita ang kanilang kalibre, sinseridad to protect the welfare and interest of all the Filipinos bilang isang senador. Ito po ang mga topics that we are going to discuss today. But bago sa lahat, I would like to once again welcome sa inyong lahat po ang mga kababayan ko po dito sa Malaysia, my friends and countrymen who are legally residing and working in Malaysia, particularly in Sabah and very specific in Kota Kinabalu. Of course, I would like also to welcome the same welcoming address ko po, no? Greetings po sa mga OFWs, Overseas Filipino Workers natin po, dyan sa mga iba-ibang parte sa mundo. Be it in Saudi Arabia, be it in US, be it in Lebanon, be it in Southeast Asian countries. And of course, I also would like to greet good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat malam to my countrymen, our countrymen po dyan po sa Pilipinas. Kumusta kayo? Magandang araw sa inyong lahat and welcome sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Ito po si Nico Fabian will be discussing po, no? Inviting you today dahil po we will be discussing corruption issues dyan po sa Pilipinas. Especially, nag-umpisa na po ang Senado, ang Kongreso po, no? Ang mga plenary sessions nila. Since Monday hanggang ngayon and tomorrow is another very, very big day for all of us po, mga Filipinos, especially those who would want to know what will happen to the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte dahil po ang Senado under the leadership of Senate President Chis Escudero, no? They are going to thoroughly discuss the issue tomorrow whether to dismiss the impeachment complaint or trial of Inday Sara Duterte, who is our incumbent Vice President dyan sa Pilipinas, or hindi po. This is based on the recent declaration of the Supreme Court declaring the impeachment article ay Inday Sara Duterte o Vice President Inday Sara Duterte as unconstitutional. So these are the issues that we are going to discuss today. And of course, I'll be sharing with you some recorded footages, portions of the plenary session of the Senate yesterday. And of course, there is another one I'm going to share with you, ang memorandum for reconsideration filed by the House of Representatives po on the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte. My speech, my announcement, si Speaker Martin Romualdez regarding the filing of the motion for reconsideration po dyan sa Supreme Court regarding ang issue ni Inday Sara Duterte, o Vice President Inday Sara Duterte, on her impeachment trial. So tomorrow is a big day, August 6th, and today is August 5th. August 5th na tayo po, Tuesday na Tuesday, and I hope everything is running smoothly. Alright, start na tayo po. Start na tayo sa topic natin, which is very interesting po. As what I said, sinabi ko kanina, si Senator Rodante Marcoleta o Dante Marcoleta as known to many, nag-umpisa na po, he showed his gaya, his sabihin natin capabilities and being sincere and of course committed in addressing and protecting the welfare and interest of every Filipino bilang isang senador. He's an experienced senator. He has been a congressman for quite a long time. And now he is the chairman of the Blue Ribbon Committee of the Senate po. So I believe itong Blue Ribbon Committee of the Senate will be a busy committee dyan po sa Senado this 20th Congress po, no? Dahil ang dami po mga issues that need to be investigated, especially itong flood mitigation programs, no? May malaking problema po no? May malaking problema. Ang corruption na involvement of government officials, alleged involvement of government officials. And of course, even politicians, even lawmakers, allegedly, reportedly, are involved in this unhealthy corruption activities, which has created a lot of inconveniences, problems, sufferings to the Filipinos in the Philippines or sa bayan natin po. Dapat maghinto na talaga ito po, no? Para at least we can move forward na tayo po. Habang nandito din itong mga problema natin, we won't be able to solve ang problema natin sa corruption po. Philippines will remain stagnant. And itong mga neighboring countries natin sa Southeast Asia, the way things are moving now, they're moving forward habang while ang Pilipinas stagnant tayo po dahil sa problema. Noon itong some of the Asian countries dito po, Southeast Asian countries, no? Dito sa region natin po, they envy the Philippines dahil po sabi natin very progressive ang Pilipinas. But unfortunately today, as how things are showing, na ang Pilipinas is being left behind na po sa itong mga neighboring countries natin. Bakit? It's very simple. Because of corruption po. Habang hindi tayo i-address itong corruption malpractices natin dito sa o dyan po sa Pilipinas, I don't think so we are going to develop, we are going to progress po. Ito talaga po. Acute na itong corruption problem natin sa Pilipinas. And masaya din ako po dahil mayroon tayong very, lahat naman sila, no? But very aggressive and although neophyte, ito si Sen Marcoleta, now aggressive talaga siya po and more than committed to play his vital role as a responsible senator dyan po sa Senado. At the same time, saludo din tayo and I don't think so we will regret for giving the mandate to another former senator dyan po sa Senado, sa Pilipinas, si Senator Ping Lacson po. Magaling na magaling itong senador natin po. And now, ngayon, after the May 12 midterm election, bumalik na siya po dyan sa Senado. And of course, as what he did during his stake as a senator 3 years ago, no? Bumalik na naman siya ngayon and the same thing ang mga performance niya po. Very, sabihin natin, I don't think so ang mga Filipinos and those who supported the candidacy of Sen Ping Lacson po will be disappointed with his performance po. With his performance. So anyway, sige lang po, mayroon tayo dito mga sabihin natin footages. And of course, yun na, mahiya kayo, sabi ang presidente, si President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos po, sa mga tao involved sa corruption, no? And I was made to understand based on the media informations spread out or announced publiko po, no? Diyan sa Maynila, I was made to understand that na-confirm din si President Bongbong Marcos that mayroon na siyang lista. May lista na si President Bongbong Marcos tungkol sino-sino mga involved sa problema ng unfinished delayed development projects po sa Pilipinas po. So let's wait and hear from his mouth kung sino-sino ito po in the days to come. In the days to come po. And mostly of these names are involved in the flood mitigation programs ni President Bongbong Marcos. And galit na si President Marcos and he wants to stop it if in the event, sabi ni Marcos, itong mga individuals or government officials and politicians are found guilty without reasonable doubt po, no? Walang kaibigan, walang sabihin natin favoritism po. he will expose the name of these politicians, of these lawmakers, of these government officials po, and definitely heads will be rolling. Yun po ang sigaw ni President Bongbong Marcos, who is now nandyan po sa India, attending a official state visit po sa India po. And he will only be back. He left yesterday, August 4th, and he will be back, or he will conclude his official visit sa India po on August 8. August 8 po. Anyway, sige, umpisa na tayo po ang mga topics natin ngayon. Okay, to start with, let me share with you itong news na mayroon tayo po about Senator Ping Lacson. Ang corruption cases natin po, involved ba talaga ang mga congressmen? Involved ba mga senador? Senador? Involved ba mga, sabihin natin, ang mga top government officials, particularly dyan po sa Department of Public Works and Highways, sa corruption cases, itong mga proyekto natin, development projects, sa flood mitigation program natin, ang mga bridges, ang mga infrastructures natin po, involved ba sila in terms of asking SOP, ang kickbacks, ang delay, projects that are being implemented, ghost projects po, itong mga projects haphazardly done, mag-collapse ang mga bridges natin po. And of course, ano ba talaga ang problema? Kailangan ba we remove these people po? Remove these people who are involved. Kailangan ba i-firing squad sa kanila? I remember there was one politician from Zamboanga City, the former District 1, congressman, now a mayor of Zamboanga City. Last year, out of desperation po siguro, he said he's calling the national government to impose ang death penalty by firing squad lahat itong mga found guilty corruption officials po, including politicians, elected politicians po. Firing squad daw po. Kailangan ba yun? Kailangan ba yun or what? Ang problema po, how many years na tayo po, we are facing this kind of problem, and a lot of our politicians whom we re-elected, remember that, re-elected to their post po, they keep on saying that they love the country, they are against corruption, and they will do their level best to safeguard the interest and welfare of all Filipinos, regardless of their color, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of their status in the community. Pero ngayon po, hanggang ngayon, nandyan pa rin po. And do you know po, na confirm na po, na mayroon mga congressmen natin po, congressmen lang muna, because it was not mentioned about kung mayroon mga senador po, dyan po sa gobyerno natin, under the administration of Bongbong Marcos Jr., na they are involved, reportedly involved in corruption cases. May mga kongresista who are also contractors po. Contractors. They will fight for their development projects para sa mga constituencies nila o sa lugar nila po, pero sila mismo po ang contractor. Diyan na po ang corruption. Diyan na po ang corruption. Sila mismo po. Either they are the ones who owns the construction company, or maybe immediate family members ang sabihin natin may-ari ng mga construction companies, who were awarded with billions or millions or billions of construction or project development projects po. And nakita natin po, it was also confirmed by the President himself, si President Bongbong Marcos, Some are ghost projects. Some are delayed. Some are, hanggang ngayon po, despite how many years na po awarded, still yet to be completed. Non-operational. Ang dami pong pera na wasted po. Taxpayers' money. Ayun po. According to Senator Ping Lacson, saludo ako po. Saludo ako kay Senator Ping Lacson. He revealed yesterday po. Yesterday, Senator Ping Lacson revealed na mayroon po something like 67 congressmen who are contractors po. Either they own the company of construction, they are a contractor because they own the company, or their immediate family members are running the show of this company kasi congressmen na sila. And mayroon yun, pabor-pabor, favoritism po when it comes to awarding of projects po. Awarding of projects. Yun po, this is the revelation, expose of Senator Ping Lacson. Senator Ping Lacson. 67 congressmen serve as contractors for their own projects, sabi ni Senator Ping Lacson. Senator Ping Lacson revealed that as many as 67 members of the House of Representatives serve as contractors for their own infrastructure projects during the 19th Congress. In an interview with DZRH, mainstream media, Lacson stated that the information was based on conversations with fellow congressmen. The actual number could be higher, sabi ni Senator Lacson. According to the veteran senator, many allegedly used family members' names to register construction companies, thereby circumventing the law. Lacson quoted a colleague saying, "My latest count is 67, but I know there are more. Perhaps now many are tempted to become contractors themselves or have relatives handle construction companies to minimize their involvement." The senator highlighted the flood control projects, including dredging, as particularly susceptible to corruption, with the kickbacks reaching to 50% for politicians. Citing example, Lacson said, "Someone told me about 50 projects simultaneously, each worth 50,000 millions, all in one area. Imagine 50 projects using almost same backhaul. So if they are actually spend 50 or 500 million, that's lucky. If it's 2.5 billion, then 2 billion was immediately embezzled." Lacson revelation follows President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s criticism during his State of the Nation address of officials involved in the corruption of government flood control funds. Several congressmen with the Speaker Martin Romualdez Sico have been implicated in the corruption of DPWH flood corruption budget. Ito na po. Sino-sino yon po? According to Senator Ping Lacson. This includes, ito na po, listen to the names. This include, according to Senator Ping Lacson, Appropriation Committee Chairman and Ako Bicol Party List Representative Saldi Co, Senior Deputy Speaker, and Quezon 2nd District Representative David J.J. Suarez, former Majority Floor Leader Manix Dalipe. Manix Dalipe is from Zamboanga City. Former Senator or former Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Gonzalez Jr. and Construction Magnate SWS Party List Representative Edwin Cardolla. Ito po, these are the few names si Senator Ping Lacson mentioned. So ngayon po, klarong-klaro po, nakita natin po na mayroon talaga mga congressmen. Congressmen, although it was not mentioned kung mayroon senador, hindi pa ito kompleto siguro ang lista ni Senator Ping Lacson po, but confirm na mayroon mga congressmen, contractors po. They fight for the project, sa kanila po mismo mag-award, kasi sa kanila yung kompanya, and ang dami po, some are asking even 50% na SOP. You just imagine, kung 50%, I heard some, 30-40%, that's still very big. That's still very big. Kung mayroon tayong 100, a project worth 1,000 pesos po, 500 already goes sa SOP or kickback ng sabihin natin ng kongresista or yon na politician. So what kind of quality of projects that we are looking at? A 1,000 worth project, ang budget, slash mo yon 50 or 500, natira lang po 500. So, paano na ang quality ng project po with if you use this 500 po? Remember that 500, there are still a lot of expenses and ang contractor dapat din may profit. So, sa bandang uli siguro 20% ng pondo will use to do this project. And that is the problem, the quality of the project po. After 1 month, 2 months, few weeks, let's say it's a bridge, then it will collapse po dahil walang quality. Substandard na po ang mga projects natin po. Substandard na mga projects natin. So that's it. Yun po ang problema. Kagaya din, I'll give you another example because yesterday we also touched on the pumping station dyan po sa District 2 sa Manila. No? They spend something like 744 million pesos for that project po. And at the end of the day, that project is not operational. And they want to repair ang problema ng proyekto. So they're asking another pondo or fund from the government, a big amount also po, to repair, or to make it operational po, no? Grabe po. Sino ang contractor? Nandyan na po ngayon. Nandyan na po. It was already out in the media. I suppose si President Bongbong Marcos, mayroon na yun, nagsabi sa kanya po, ang tao niya po, that this is already exposed, and I hope the President will do something. I was made to understand that ang Blue Ribbon Committee po might start doing the investigation. Likewise, ang Congress po, no, will also investigate. Ang problema lang po, kung mag-investigate ang Kongreso, so are they going to investigate themselves? Because they are involved. Ang mga colleagues nila are involved. So will it be bias? Will it be what? Yun po ang problema ng Pilipinas. But anyway, yun po. Saludo tayo kay Senator Ping Lacson. Good job, Mr. Senator. And we are looking forward for more, sabihin natin, expose from you, from the Senator. Kasi nakita natin po, si Senator Ping Lacson is really out there, doing his part, especially sa financial budget, ang mga budget po natin dyan sa Senado po, because ang national budget na 2025, ang daming problema po, and the most corrupt budget po, ang national budget ng Pilipinas sa 2025 po. And in few months time po, we are going to start again ang budget ng 2026. Pero hindi bale, nandiyan naman si Senator Ping Lacson at saka si Senator Dante Marcoleta. And of course, lahat ng mga senador din yan po. They are also qualified po. Pero nakita natin, vocal, aggressive talaga po. Ito po si Senator Dante Marcoleta at saka si Senator Ping Lacson. Pero maaga pa po, no? Let's see. Once mag-umpisa na talaga ang mga investigations, committee investigations po, and nandun po ang Duterte Block, ang mga members ng Duterte Block sa Senado, dyan na po. So, maghintay na lang tayo. Okay, this time around, I would like to share with you footage, part of the plenary session po kahapon dyan po sa Senado. And they're talking about ang privilege speech ni Senator Jinggoy Estrada po, and he's talking about itong mga collapsed bridges, mga bridge natin po na collapse and substandard bridges po, constructed dyan po sa Pilipinas, particularly itong Cabangan bridge po, which was recently collapsed po. Ang dami pala kalukuhan dyan po sa Cabangan Bridge. So, after the privilege speech of Senator Jinggoy, saludo din tayo kay Senator Jinggoy, he exposed this thing, concerned din siya po sa buhay ng mga affected residents dyan po sa area who needs this Cabangan bridge, na collapse ngayon. Now, nagtayo din si Senator Rodante Marcoleta to interpolate. So, let's listen a portion of the exchange of answering of questions between Senator Jinggoy Estrada and Senator Dante Marcoleta regarding the issue of substandard bridges po sa Pilipinas, especially itong bridge na Cabangan Bridge po. Nandito. Let me share you with this footage and listen carefully po. Maganda ito. Para malalaman ninyo po what is really happening. Sino may kasalanan at what the government should do after itong issues being exposed na ngayon sa publiko. Alright. So, saan na yun? 3:35. You hold on. 3:35. Let's listen to this po. Hold on, Hold on.
The Honorable Senator will agree that we're fast becoming a country of falling bridges. I agree with you, my good friend, Senator Marcoleta. In regard to this bridge in Isabela, subject matter of your speech, Mr. President, wala bang weighing scale or weighing station or weighing facility na itinalaga ang local government or national government para sa ganon yung lahat ng dadaan ng mga behikulo? Kasi, Mr. President, alam naman natin na Isabela ay agricultural economy. It consists something like 29.8% agriculture products at 25% industry. Kaya kinakailangan po siguro merong tagatimbang sa lahat ng mga truck na dadaan. Napakasimple naman siguro ang problema ito. Bakit wala man lang nakaisip na maglagay po ng isang timbangan doon para sa mga sasakyan na dadaan? Sa akin pagkakalam po, Ginoong Pangulo, ay wala pong weighing bridge na nakalagay po ron sa Cabangan Santa Maria Bridge. Kaya siguro bigla nila pumasok itong overloaded na truck na nag-weigh ng 89.63 metric tons. Kaya po bumagsak, overweight to ng 43 metric tons. Kaya siguro bigla akong bumagsak ang tulay ng Cabangan na Santa Maria Bridge, Pinopangulo. Binanggit po ninyo sa inyong speech, Mr. President, Your Honor, na isa sa nakatidismaya matapos ito'y maimbestigahan sa pangunguna ng ating kasama, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, ay nabahala po kayo na malinaw na may kawalan ng pananagutan mula sa mga taong responsable sa pagpapatupad ng proyektong ito. Tama po ba yung aking narinig?
Tama po kayo, Ginoong Pangulo.
Ibig bang sabihin po ay hindi natukoy ng investigasyon ng ating kasamahan ang mga responsabling tao na mayroong kasalanan dito sa bagay na ito?
Ginoong Pangulo, ang sa pagkakalam ko, fact-finding lamang po ang ginawa ng
Yun nga po.
DPWH.
Dahil
At wala
fact-finding.
pong mga pangalan na binanggit. Ngayon, kung ako po itatanong ninyo kung sino-sino po ang magiging responsable, sasabihin ko po sa inyo kung sino-sino po itong mga ito.
Salamat po, Mr. President, Your Honor, kasi po meron kayong binanggit dito na dalawang assistant secretary ng DPWH sa panahon na ginagawa ang proyekto ito na nakatalaga sa Region 3 o Region 2 at tatlong undersecretaries naman ang malinaw na meron ding control sa budget at supervision sa panahon na ito'y ginagawa. Tama po ba?
Tama po kayo, Ginoong Pangulo.
Para po malaman ng ating kapulungan, maaari po bang sabihin natin kung sino po itong mga taong tinutukoy po ninyo, Mr. President, Your Honor?
Yon po, si Senator Rodante Marcoleta po. He wants to know kung sino yung mga tao involved. Involved po. You just imagine, simple lang, sabi ni Dante Marcoleta, may bridge tayo dyan. Wala ba nag-isip maskin isa sa Department of Public Works of Highway na maglagay ng weighing station dyan po sa malapit sa bridge. Before you can pass the bridge, dapat itong mga lorries natin po, no? Mga lorries, mga trucks natin, they have to pass by the weighing scale. And then kung overloaded po, then they will not be allowed to pass by to protect ang bridge natin po. Hindi nangyari yan po. Wala. No? Wala po. Nothing happened. That is one thing po. And mayroon pa mga ibang mga issues tungkol itong Cabangan Bridge po na expose si Senator Jinggoy Estrada. And yun na po, na ano din, na-question din po si Senator Dante Marcoleta po, no? So, maganda ang start ni Senator Marcoleta. He really wants to go down to the root of the problem po, para malalaman talaga ang tao po na anong nangyari. I hope this thing, ang mga exchange of question and answers ni Senator Jinggoy Estrada as well as Senator Dante Marcoleta will go to the ears of President Bongbong Marcos po, so that let's see what he will do. Ang mga involved ba dyan, ang undersecretaries, acting secretaries, top government officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways, and ano ang consequences that they are going to face for this very, sabihin natin, expensive irregularities that they committed po. So, talking about the names, nandito po, I will share with you. Nag-reveal din si Senator Jinggoy Estrada kung sino-sino po ang mga tao involved. Tatlong tao yan po involved sa project na ito po. Sa project. Okay, nandito po. Let's listen to Senator Jinggoy Estrada.
Secretary for Regional Operations in Luzon, Loretta Malaluan. She succeeded Neri Bueno, now Asik Bueno, as Regional Office Region 2 Director. The time when the bridge project was already facing structural problems. Siya ang nagrekomenda noong January 2021 na ponduhan ang retrofitting na nagkakalaga ng 233.5 million o yung pagsasagawa ng epoxy crack repairs. In March 2022, she formally requested that the project be reclassified identified from a replacement to a retrofitting strengthening project given the persistent structural issues. Pangalawa po, Ginoong Pangulo, Assistant Secretary for Regional Operations in Visayas and Mindanao, Neri D. Bueno. Siya po, as then Regional Office 2 Director, Engineer Bueno was involved in the implementation of Phase 1 and Phase 2 of this project. In 2018, then Project Engineer Felipe Lingan began reporting early signs of possible bridge failure. Noong pa lang 2018, nakitaan na nitong si Mr. Lingan na medyo malapit na magkolapso o may failure, early signs of bridge failure. These warnings were either not acted upon or were not sufficiently addressed under Bueno's leadership, which became a notable concern in later investigations. Ginoong Pangulo, yung tatlo pong nabanggit kong undersecretaries, napapangalanan ko rin ngayon, ito po hanggang ngayon ay nanunungkulan pa rin bilang undersecretary ng DPWH. Unang-una, Undersecretary for Regional Operations in Luzon, Ginoong Eugenio Pipo Jr. Siya po ang nangasiwa ng construction ng tulay nang sinimula ng pagpapagawa nito noong 2014 bilang NOY Assistant Secretary for Operations. It was under his watch that the early stages of construction proceeded even when structural issues began to surface. And in June 2018, the DPWH engineers identified critical defects after the concrete slab was poured at span 8. Masyado ng technical to. Among the most alarming were sheared bolts and shifting columns, clear indicators of serious design and construction flaws. Yet, despite these warnings, construction continued with no decisive intervention from Pipo's office. His failure to halt the project or escalate the issue for re-evaluation allowed the risks to persist unaddressed. Pangalawang Undersecretary for Regional Operations in Visayas and Mindanao, Ginoong Ador G. Canlas. Siya po ay Assistant Secretary for Regional Operations in the Cordillera, Regions 1, 2, 9 at 13 noong taon 2022. Retrofitting began in 2023 with 285 million allocated for structural strengthening. The engineering designs were completed and submitted, and multiple iterations of the as-staked plans were prepared by DPWH Region 2. And during this phase, Undersecretary for Technical Services Ador Canlas became directly involved. He approved key engineering plans on December 19, 2023, and later a revised retrofitting plan on May 22, 2024. These approvals were crucial in authorizing the construction activities intended to stabilize the bridge. And lastly, Mr. President, Undersecretary for Planning Service and Public-Private Partnership Service, Maria Catalina Cabral. Ang kanyang opisina ang nag-aproba para pondohan ang isinagawang kontrobersyal na retrofitting ng tulay na dapat ang kontraktor ang gumastos dahil nasa ilalim ng warranty period. Dahil dito, gumastos pa ang ating gobyerno ng karagdagan na 400 million pesos. Ang halagang ito ay 50% ng original contract price ng tulay, Ginoong Pangulo. Yun lang po, Ginoong Pangulo.
Okay, narinig niyo po ang mga pangalan na coming from the mouth of Senator Jinggoy Estrada po, no? Nakita natin po, no? Anong say ninyo at tungkol itong issue, controversial issue ng Cabangan Bridge po, dyan sa Pilipinas po. And yes, good job. Good job on the part of Senator Dante Marcoleta. And of course, let's not forget also the exposure made by Senator Jinggoy Estrada. These are only among the many projects po sa Pilipinas since 3 years ago or more than that 3 years ago po, no? Ang mga proyekto pala dyan sa Department of Public Works and Highways, ang dami po questionable and involved. According to Senator Ping Lacson, involved po ang mga lawmakers natin sa Pilipinas. And it is for this reason that mahina ang progreso ng Pilipinas po dahil itong mga lawmakers natin po, itong mga appointed officials, civil servants natin po, holding top positions sa gobyerno po, they are corrupt. They are corrupt. That is according to Senator Ping Lacson. Mahirap po to accept this thing, and sana lang po, now that the President, si President Bongbong Marcos, during the State of the Nation address last month po, he mentioned about mahiya kayo, for the things that you have been doing, kawawa ang mga Pilipino, and I'm going to make sure that action will be taken, justice will be observed po dito for what you have done. Sana lang po totoo itong mga promises ni President Bongbong Marcos. Although I'm sorry to say that my reputation din si Bongbong Marcos of PBBM na is fond of making empty promises po. I hope this time around mayroon pa siyang 3 years. The last 3 years, sa kanya po to lagay ng legacy as a President of the Philippines po, sana lang po he will do something sa mga problema itong that we are facing now. Not only now, but quite a long time already po. Bago mag-umpisa tayo or mag-continue ang ang mga issues natin for today, I would like to shout out muna tayo kay Marilo Pintojo, is also watching ang program natin, si Ruben Castillo, si Ard Enriquez, ang mga kaibigan natin, mga kababayan natin na dyan po sa Tawau, sa Sandakan, sa Semporna, and Lahadatu, and of course dito po sa Kota Kinabalu, and mga followers natin dyan po sa Zamboanga City, sa Visayas, and Mindanao who are watching itong programa natin. And of course, ang mga kababayan natin, mga followers natin sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. And mayroon tayo from Finland, mayroon tayo from USA, mayroon tayo from Saudi Arabia who is also watching ang Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Another footage that I would like to share with you, which I believe it is very important, is a portion of the privilege speech made by Senator Raffy Tulfo po regarding ang problema natin ng bigas sa Pilipinas po. Itong rice tariff natin po. Before it was at 35% and Marcos, our president, pushed it down to 15%, hoping that the prices of rice, bigas sa Pilipinas, will eventually pushed down, but unfortunately it did not happen. I was made to understand now that the Department of Agriculture is now contemplating, studying on the possibility, maybe it will be implemented this year, on the increase again ang rice tariff po, sa Pilipinas. From 15%, they will go gradually. From 15%, it will push up to 25%, and finally, it will be 35% po. Pero wala pang official announcement po when they are going to implement this increase of rice tariff dyan po sa Pilipinas. And I was made to understand that they are still thoroughly studying and waiting for the end to be approved by the President, si President Bongbong Marcos. But anyway, nandito po ang ulit si Senator Dante Marcoleta after the speech, privilege speech of Raffy Tulfo. Nag-interpolate din si Senator Dante Marcoleta. Let's listen a portion of this interpellation of Dante Marcoleta kay Senator Raffy Tulfo. Nandito po. Let's listen to this. Hold on, Let's listen to this. Maganda din po ang mga points na he raised po during the interpellation. Hold on, nandito po.
Your Honor, alam po ba ninyo ang nakakain ng isang Pilipino na bigas sa loob ng isang taon?
I don't have that data, Mr. President, Your Honor.
According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, ang isang Pilipino po, ang tawag po nila rito ay per capita consumption of rice. 122 kilos daw po ang nakakain ng isang Pilipino sa loob ng isang taon. Sa mga tweet, kinuwenta ko po 122 kilos times 115 million Filipinos divided by 20 something kasi para makita po natin per metric tons. Ang national consumption po pala, base po sa kwenta ko, Mr. President, 14 million metric tons of rice. Ito po ay 2024. Nagtataka po ako bakit binasi nila sa 115 million Filipinos. Marami pa po noong mga sanggol Hindi pa naman kumakain ng bigas yung mga yun Sabaw ng bigas, kinakain po yun, Mr. President. Meron din pong mga probinsya ang ating bansa na kumakain ng kasaba.
Tama.
Sa Mindanao po siguro marami doon.
Mais din.
Meron din tayong mga lugar na mais ang kinakain, lalong-lalo na po sa Cebu.
Tama.
Sana po ay ibinawas sana ito. Ganun pa man, kahit na aminin po natin, Mr. President, na sa official record po ng PSA, ang atin pong consumption ay 15.5 million metric tons. Dinagdagan pa nga ng 1 milyon Sa kwenta ko 1 milyon at kalahati. Tinanong ko rin po yung production natin on the same year. Ang sabi po nila, 19.3 million metric tons. So, ang sabi ko po, kukunti naman pala yung consumption natin. Mas malaki pa pala yung pinroduce natin, 19.3 million metric tons. Ipagpalagay mo ng 15.5 million metric tons ang kakainin ng bawat isang Pilipino. Di sana hindi tumaas ang presyo ng bigas. Wala pa pong importation dito, Mr. President. Sa production pa lang natin, kayang-kaya na nating takpan ang pangangailangan po ng bawat isang Pilipino. So nagtanong po ako sa aking mga kaibigan sa mga concerned agencies na ayaw na po nilang ipabanggit ang mga pangalan for obvious reasons. Paano po ako nangyari yun? This seems to be a very big conundrum for all of us. Hindi po nila maipaliwanag, Mr. President. So dito po, kitang-kita natin ang napakalaking corruption na yung sinasabi po kanina ni Senator Jaime na supply chain. Kahit na po hindi natin tingnan doon dito pa lang sa statistics na ito sobra po ang ating production kaysa pangangailangan natin sa pagkain. Kaya nakakabahala po kung bakit wala pa pong importation dito, bakit ganun na po ang kinalabasan. Kagaya rin po ng mga naunang nag-interpellate na ako po
Okay, yun po ang observation ni Senator Dante Marcoleta. Now, sabi niya po, ang production of rice natin po sa Pilipinas is something like 19 point something million metric tons po. Production yan po ng rice natin. 19. Ang consumption for 1 year ng Filipinos, let's say ang population natin is 115 million people, no? Ang consumption natin po is only 15 something million metric tons. Ibig sabihin, production mas marami and konti lang po ang consumption ko. Kaya nga sabi ni Sen Marcoleta, na wonder siya po bakit ang rice natin po hindi bumaba ang presyo. Ang presyo po. So, ganun po yon observation ni Sen Marcoleta po. May puntos din siya po, no? But another senator, si Senator Kiko Pangilinan, also bet in and explain po. He tried to explain po. Although he agreed that there must be a thorough study on this issue po, especially ang figures, no? He bet in and tried to, ano ba yan, can we say defend, or contradict ang observation ni Dante Marcoleta, no? Sabi niya po, yon 19 million metric tons po, palay pa yun po, hindi pa yun bigas. So if you're going to, kung palay yun po, and then you mag-meal pa yun po into your rice, definitely yung 19 million something a metric tons po, bababa pa yun. So sabi niya, it will be something like 12 million metric tons po. 12 million metric tons, tapos consumption natin is 15 million metric tons, so yun may deficit tayo. Yun po ang explanation ni Senator Pangilinan. So, may reply din si Dante Marcoleta sa observation ni Senator Pangilinan. Let's listen po sa kanilang dalawa. Hold on, Let's listen sa kanila. And then kayo na bahala po, no? Kaya sabi ko, saludo ako. Saludo ako ito kay Dante Marcoleta, Senator Dante Marcoleta. Let's listen to this video clip that I prepared for all of you po. Although, brief lang ito po, but it's worthwhile watching and listening to the brief exchange of question and answer between Senator Marcoleta and Senator Pangilinan. Nandito po.
And Senator Tulfo.
With the permission of the gentleman who have the floor, Senator Pangilinan may proceed.
I may be mistaken, but I think the 19 million is palay. Igigiling pa yun. And 60% of that 19 million metric tons of palay becomes rice. So it's about 11.9 to 12 million na bigas. Kaya yung importation mo, yung consumption is 15 million bigas, 19 million yung palay. Pagka yan ay nagigiling, magiging 60%, which is about 12 million. So yung gap is about 2 million metric tons. 2 to 3 million. So dapat import natin no more than, well, yes. Dapat, if we go by the statistics, those numbers, hindi 5 million. No? Okay. So,
Tingnan nyo ang mukha ni Sen Marcoleta.
We have to check the data, Mr. President, because what I got, hindi po pala ito. Because alam ko pong conversion rate, 67% po ang conversion rate mula sa palay sa pagiging bigas. Kaya nga po ako'y nagtaka, kahit na halimbawa gawin po nating palay ito, mataas pa rin po yung production kesa sa consumption. At kung aalisin nga po natin yung iba sapagkat ibinasi po sa 115 million, talaga naman pong karamihan po ng mga sanggol hindi pa kumakain ng bigas, masyado pong malaki ang base data na ginamit po nila.
I agree, Mr. President, Your Honor.
Mr. President, Your Honor, alam po ba ninyo
Yan po ang sagot ni o reaction ni Senator Marcoleta po regarding ang observation ni Senator Pangilinan. Although all of them, si Senator Raffy Tulfo and Senator Pangilinan, they both agreed that they have to study the situation po. Production natin sa Pilipinas is 19 million metric tons. Consumption is only 15 million metric tons. Bakit? Wala pa yung mga imported rice, no? Sabi ni Sen Marcoleta, bakit mahal pa rin ang bigas natin sa Pilipinas? Corruption, yon ang sabi ni Sen Marcoleta. Do you agree? Agree or not, I think there must be an investigation po. There must be an investigation. Alright, so yun po ang some video clips that I have prepared para sa inyong lahat po regarding ang plenary session ng Senado yesterday. And this time around, before I will conclude itong programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, I would like to share with you also ang statement ni Senate House of Representative Speaker Martin Romualdez, no? He announced that ang House of Representative already submitted, filed a complaint, filed a motion to the Supreme Court po on the issue of the impeachment, the article of Inday Sara Duterte, wherein the Supreme Court po last month declared, is it last month or early this month, declared the impeachment article of Inday Sara Duterte as unconstitutional based on no jurisdiction po and violation of the rights of Inday Sara Duterte. Nandito po, let's listen to Speaker Martin Romualdez announcement.
With full respect to the Constitution, in defense of institutional balance, and in the name of the Filipino people, the House of Representatives has filed a motion for reconsideration before the Supreme Court. This is not an act of defiance. It is an act of duty. We do not challenge the authority of the court. We seek only to preserve the rightful role of the House, the voice of the people, in the process of accountability. Let us be clear. The Constitution says the House of Representatives shall have the exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment. That power is not shared, not subject to pre-approval, and not conditional. Yet, in GR number 278353, the Supreme Court ruled otherwise, based on a misreading of facts and a retroactive imposition of the new rules. On February 5, 2025, the House transmitted the fourth impeachment complaint, filed and signed by 215 members to the Senate. Only after this transmittal did we archive the earlier three complaints. The sequence matters. It proves there was only one valid initiation, not four. Even the court's own precedent, Francisco versus House, supports this. Only one impeachment can be initiated, and that initiation begins with a one-third endorsement or a referral. That is exactly what the House did. The court also said the Vice President was denied due process because she was not furnished a copy or given a chance to respond. But nowhere in the Constitution is that required before transmittal. In fact, in all past impeachments, the trial and the right to be heard take place in the Senate. To invent new rules now and apply them retroactively is not just unfair, it is constitutionally suspect. Let me say this with candor. A government of laws cannot allow any branch to become the judge of its own accountability. The Supreme Court is a co-equal branch of government. Its wisdom is deep, its authority is real. But its members, like the President and the Vice President, are also impeachable officers. When the court lays down rules for how it or others like it may be impeached, it puts itself in the dangerous position of writing conditions that may shield itself from future accountability. That is not how checks and balances work. We filed this motion for reconsideration not to provoke, but to protect. Not to assert supremacy, but to restore balances. Because if impeachments can be blocked by misunderstood facts or rules made after the fact, then accountability is not upheld, it is denied. To dissent is not to defy. To demand accountability is not to destabilize. To insist on constitutional integrity is not to weaken the democracy, it is to strengthen it. We speak now not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. The House will not silence.
All right, yun po. That's the declaration or announcement of Speaker Martin Romualdez of the House of Representative in the Philippines po. And it was made yesterday po dyan sa House of Representative during the plenary session. All right, the way how I look at it, okay. Tomorrow, August 6, the Senate will thoroughly be discussing the issue po. Will thoroughly be discussing the issue, and they will decide whether to dismiss the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte outrightly, or they will continue po, or they will continue. And regardless of the MR or a motion for reconsideration filed by the House of Representatives, the Senate, the members of the Senate will discuss thoroughly and make a decision. Decision will be made via or through voting. On the information that we have received from several announcements coming from the senators in the Philippines po, they are looking at 19 senators out of the 24 senators will be voting for the dismissal of the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte, and they will respect the decision of the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court clearly stated that it is the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte was indeed unconstitutional. And it is it was made clear by the Supreme Court that this decision will be immediate and executory. It means it must be executed immediately. And the Senate, majority of them, although everything will be confirmed tomorrow, they are going to vote. Expected to vote 19 out of the 24 senators. Let's see po. Even though the opposite side or those opposing or those who wants to continue the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte via the motion for reconsideration filed sa Supreme Court po. Filed sa Supreme Court po, it will be a difficult battle because even though they can get 7, now they already 4 or 5 of them. Even they will get another 2. It will be very difficult for them to reverse the decision of the Supreme Court po. Knowing the fact that the Supreme Court decision was unanimous. Out of the 15 justices, 1 were absent and 1 abstained. 13 unanimously agreed that the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte was unconstitutional because of lack of jurisdiction and a violation of Inday Sara Duterte's right po to be heard. So yan po. Yon ang latest update sa mayroon tayo tungkol sa what is happening dyan po sa Pilipinas. Once again, I would like to say, according to Senator Ping Lacson, 67, and the number is still counting. 67 of the congressmen reportedly are contractors. Either they are a contractor who were awarded with projects from the government, or their immediate family members are running this construction companies, which is against the Constitution of the Philippines po. Kasi dyan na po magpasok ang corruption po. Ang issues raised by Senator Dante Marcoleta sa RICE, sa bridges, substandard bridges po, maganda din nga po what they did. Itong dalawang senator natin dyan po sa Pilipinas. We'll be looking forward for more. Mga we will be looking forward for more issues to be raised by our senators when it comes to the malpractices po, corruption, unhealthy activities carried out by irresponsible lawmakers, government servants natin po, civil servants natin po dyan sa Pilipinas. And let's hope that this problem will be properly addressed and with a long-term solutions po, so that Philippines will be able to move forward and be at par with our neighboring countries po, like Malaysia for one, Indonesia, Brunei, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. Ngayon po, medyo dehado na ang Filipinas po, and kawawa ang mga Filipinos. So with this, once again, I would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Today is August 5th, and it's Tuesday. Don't forget, stay tuned po sa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico tomorrow, because I'll try to see if I can go online po during the plenary session of the Senate. That will be, morning or afternoon? I still have to confirm po, no? Because tomorrow they are going to discuss on the fate of the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte. With this, once again, I would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.